alleged domestic violence incident. Was Jennifer Gledhill a gone girl gone wrong? Let's talk about it. Coming out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Jennifer Gledhill killed her husband, allegedly, Mr. Johnson himself. She's saying that she has bruises on her body. She's saying that she was abused.
Well, she got it from cleaning, is what she said.
Well, the facts are coming out after search warrants have been issued that the bruises are from her actually burying her husband's body in the hills. A shallow grave was dug. Police officers have search warrants. They searched Miss Gledhill's parents' home. They searched her home. They found evidence of a Glock 19 wrapped in her kid's onesie. The DNA and the blood analytics match up to the murder. So there's going to be a lot of publicity going on. This is a mix between Casey Anthony, OJ, and Gone Girl, the movie. What is it, a movie or show?
It was a book first.
A book.
That was a movie.
I only saw the movie. Anyway, regardless.
It's like Harry Potter. I read the books, and then after a certain amount, I just started watching the movies after.
Guys, expect this to be on the news. This is definitely newsworthy. This is going to be something that's going to be publicized. People are going to be writing about it. Everybody's going to want to know, what is felony murder? What is murder? What's the mens rea? What's going on here? Did she have the ability through self-defense to kill her husband?
The story, the way the story's going, is he was.
I didn't mention the informant. So
Right. So I mean, it seems as if that she premeditated this, that she had thought about what she was going to do. The husband was laying in his bed. She had recently confessed, I believe, to having an extramarital affair. He got upset about it. It's unclear whether there was domestic violence as a result of that or prior domestic violence. But while he's sleeping in his bed, she shoots him. So it's not as if, again, from what we can tell from the article, because there could be a whole lot more to this.
Oh, yeah.
But if it is where he's just laying or sleeping in the bed, then there's no fear for life, right? There's nothing like that. So that's a premeditated murder. It seems as if she had planned it all out and how she was going to get rid of the body, which she put in a tote. She had her parents help and come help clean the house. So now the parents are in trouble, But
this all came out because she told the guy that she was
Exactly.
sleeping with, who's quote unquote the informant here, who's unnamed and unidentified, that he was the one that went to the cops and said, "Yep, my girl is the one that killed this guy."
I think we have to look at the Fourth Amendment, right? We look at the Fourth Amendment here and search and seizure. Like when you're saying they found the Glock 19 in the parents' house, was the government taking action for probable cause? They have a warrant to do the search. Was it a warrantless search, or was it because a private actor who would be this confidential informant gave them the information based on maybe some
from the AG's side? You better hope that there was probable cause, that they had the search warrant and they found this evidence, because otherwise then it would be
it's the fruit of the poisonous tree, and then it does not come into the trial, and that murder weapon could be everything.
That would be
if it's the alleged murder weapon.
She had actually reported him missing. Right, so that's where, if anyone knows the book and movie Gone Girl, this is sort of a little bit of reverse Gone Girl situation, but she reported him missing after she and her parents got rid of the body in a very calculated way, got rid of the phone, got rid of his car.
Yep.
So everyone's looking for this guy. So at some point, you got to imagine that when the police went in there, they had probable cause to do it, because at some point, he's missing, and then you've got her affair partner coming to the cops and saying, pretty sure she murdered him.
Josh, there's only one way to cover up a murder if there's three people involved, and two of them have to be dead. Right?
And a fire is involved.
Yeah, and a fire is involved.
Right.
You can't confess to your informant.
Well, you
or
better
to
not have teeth.
Yeah, you can't. Don't dent the records too. But you can't confess to somebody and then all of a sudden, think that person's not going to report this to the police department. So
the problem is, you even have these phones. The phones ping your location where you're at. So if you think you're going to hide in today's world, it's impossible. Unless you're going to live in the woods with no technology, there's no way that you're going to get away with anything like this today. It's sad that this still happens, but this alleged murder is devastating, right? It's if this is actually factually true, what's being reported.
I know the defense that's going through my mind right now. I have bruising. I have evidence.
Right.
I lied to my boyfriend or my side piece or whatever you want to call him, right? And my husband was beating me and was strangling me, and I had to reach for my gun and defend myself. And then I hid the body because I was scared and I was afraid of what's going on. And that's my defense right there.
Absolutely.
And I'm sticking to it. And this informant is a drug addict. I don't know who he is.
And Josh, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I've cleaned my house. You ever clean the kitchen and you turn too fast?
Wait.
You clip yourself on the side of the counter. The bruising that I've had on my body.
That's where you're going with this.
Okay. So it is plausible.
But
I'm saying it definitely is plausible.
The situation and her defense. You bring up what her defense might be. Even if the husband was in bed. He was defenseless at the time, right? Let's say he's sleeping. It's 2 a.m. when she does this, right? He's sleeping, and she premeditates it. But there's still a defense there. If she can show a history of domestic violence, significant history of domestic violence, and that she was just afraid for her life on a consistent basis, and then it just boiled to a point where she snapped and couldn't take it anymore, and I suppose rightfully so, then maybe there's a defense there. But from what we can tell so far, it seems more reactionary on the claims of the domestic violence than anything else. But I'm very curious to see how this case unfolds and to see sort of what are the actual facts as they come out.
Well, you and I don't deal with domestic violence too often with our line of business. Rich, you deal in the family law arena. A lot of domestic violence allegations, a lot of restraining orders. Why don't you give us your legal opinion on what domestic violence means to you, and based on whether whoever you're representing, and then kind of sum it up as to how this could lead to certain things.
It's a great question. So domestic violence doesn't just happen to women, doesn't just happen to men, it happens to all peoples, right? And on top of that, it doesn't have to be just physical. It could be mental. It could be financial. There's other ways for domestic violence to come into play. Most people think domestic violence is getting beat up, traditionally men over a woman. However, times have changed, and that's not necessarily the truth any longer. However, when you're an alleged domestic violence victim, there is so much that goes on because the mental stability of what you've just experienced, of usually it's more times a love paramour or a spouse that's doing it to you, that the person you're entirely supposed to trust your whole world with.
Do you have to have a mental evaluation in order to claim that you've been mentally abused?
Well, I think, again, in domestic violence, it's more of a summary proceeding. So it's not necessarily, we're not on the stand trying to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The threshold is much lighter than it would be going into criminal court. Now, a person that suffered from domestic violence and now is seeking to use a self-defense, in such as maybe in this case, they may want to go through evaluation and have an expert opine that, listen, this person is not there. There's no way. It's more of a depraved heart situation, and where that would be a defense where they just snapped. And it's unfortunate because the mental health, just in general, with our society is very very thin and very weak, and we should do more in all aspects to help people out there that need mental health resources. But here, this is an unfortunate case of obviously good girl gone bad. So as they say, but we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and more information will come out as this proceeds forward.
I hope that this is publicly aired. I think that this is going to be an interesting trial to watch. Again, murder, cover up. The parents are involved. What's their criminal liability? Are they going to be prosecuted? And what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with this informant? Is he going to stay anonymous, or is he going to go on the stand?
Accessory could be also conspiracy too.
Yeah.
Could be conspiracy.
And then obviously,
Dad, get ready. We're going to kill this guy. Tonight, bury the body.
Conspiracy takes 2 or more actors in there.
I mean, listen, man. I have 2 daughters, and if one of my
justice,
and
I'm
going to be careful, but let's just say it this way, right? You have children, right? And if we're talking about daughters, because it's a woman who did the action here, and your daughter comes to you and says, "Daddy, my boyfriend is beating me up on a consistent basis." I don't know. I don't know what you as a father are supposed to do, within the bounds of the law to make that right. So your children can make you do crazy things.
Well, again, from a legal perspective, if we're going to go down the road that she was beaten and abused and experiencing domestic violence based on the bruising,
then you look at self-defense.
Well, you have a self-defense, but you're better off, and again, take this with a grain of salt. You shoot the husband, you leave him there, you call the cops, you say I was beat, right? You say I was being beat, here's the bruises to prove it, and I had to fight for my life, and this is the self-defense. The fact that she dragged the body, she made the car disappear, she tried to get rid of the GPS on the phone, she made that disappear, there was blood all over the mattress.
Maybe it was very traumatizing her to have any kind of thing around her that reminded of him.
It's going to
get rid of it.
But it's going to make a harder defense for the defense counsel.
But that's good defense counsel thought that.
But that's
absolutely.
None of us know. We're not going to know until it comes out.
With the next girlfriend, you keep the picture of you and her on the wall. No, you take it down. You remove it because it's bad memories.
Just leave yourself with the cat on the wall.
No. Anyway.
So just to wrap up, this murder trial that's going to be happening out in Utah, a lot of defenses, hopefully we see this on TV. You're going to see defense counsel coming up with all kinds of strategies.
For her as well as her parents.
Yeah, absolutely. And, ultimately, if you get yourself in a situation, hire an attorney, hire an experienced criminal defense attorney. You have to strategize with him, whether or not this defendant is going to take the stand and testify. Probably it's usually the golden rule, never do that.
If you had a life insurance policy, she's not going to be entitled to it based on the Slayer statute.
Absolutely. So again, I think there's a lot of legal arguments that are going to be had, and they're going to come up with the facts of this matter. And, it's going to be interesting to watch this court case unfold, essentially.